The painting, The Rest on the Flight to Egypt, reflects Roman Catholic dominance in its traditional subject of Northern Renaissance art in Belgium in the 1500s. The painting, along with many other paintings at the time, depicts the importance of Catholicism by capturing Bible stories. The story displayed in the painting is a common gospel passage in which the Holy Family is fleeing from Judea. The Rest on the Flight to Egypt is a product of typical post-classical European culture because of the religious symbols that reflect Catholicism. The style of the painting is typical of the Belgian culture during the Renaissance because it's religiously motivated.
The piece of art, The Rest on the Flight into Egypt, displays Catholicism and reflects the predominant religion in Belgium at this time by depicting a Bible scene. The story portrayed in the painting shows the Holy Family resting during their flight to Egypt because an angel appeared to Joseph, telling him to flee to Egypt with his wife and Jesus to escape the wrath of King Herod during the massacre of the innocents. The massacre of the innocents was an event in Jesus' time in which Herod plotted to kill every male baby of less than 2 years of age in an attempt to find the Son of God.
This piece of art conveys multiple visual symbols within the painting that display Roman Catholic belief. The apple that Jesus is eating represents Jesus taking away original sin from the world. Before Adam and Eve were thrown out of the Garden of Eden, they ate the forbidden fruit. Thus, when Jesus eats the apple, there comes the idea of him taking away sin from the world. This representation is also a reference toward the event of Jesus dying on the cross to take away sin from the world. The killing in the background of the painting represents the Catholic story of the massacre of the innocents. This massacre is, however, contradicting the act of Jesus taking away sin because it is sin in itself. The detailed expression in the faces of the Holy Family symbolizes the deep emotion associated with the event by Catholics. This deep emotion occurs because Jesus, the Savior of the world in the perspective of Christians, is in jeopardy of being killed. The river running through the background of the painting is evidence toward the idea of Jesus ordering a river to appear to quench Mary and Joseph's thirst on their long journey. In the painting, Mary is wearing her traditional blue veil that many scholars say symbolizes her wisdom.
The Flemish style of the painting reflects the cultural beliefs and values in Belgium during the Northern Renaissance. This piece of art was typical in the Northern Renaissance because it had religious significance, which was the main basis to most important Renaissance art. The Renaissance in Europe was a time of revival in the arts and literature. One cause of the Renaissance was the decline of the economy in Europe. At the end of the Middle Ages, Europe was run in with the Black Plague, which reduced population numbers. Since most of the population was peasant and since peasants were important in running the economy, productivity was reduced because of this loss. Feudalism was also affected by the loss of peasants since the landlords relied on peasants for wealth. It also reduced the role of Catholic Church to society because the Church failed to help those who were affected by the plague. This fueled the Renaissance by detaching people from the Church and causing them to have time to create. Because of the feudal system had been in place with Europe at the time, trade basically ran the lives of peasants. With Europe started to rebuild after the Black Plague, surviving peasants became more important to the economy, so they were given more freedom and were greatly appreciated for their work. This freedom opened up the gates of creativity, and thus the Renaissance was a revival of arts and literature.
The Northern Renaissance was also a time of religious reform and a return to Christian values to help revive the Church's role to society. In contrast, the Italian Renaissance focused on humanism, or a universal search for morality for all humans. Flemish painters of this time often painted the Holy Family in an attempt to rebuild the decaying trust of the Catholic Church. While artists during the Italian Renaissance were eager to connect science with their art and focus on the mystery of the physical world, grown detail and coloring of the painting is also evidence of its time period, but the
The Rest on the Flight into Egypt depicts the Holy Family fleeing the wrath of King Herod, making the painting of religious significance. The painting contains religious symbolism that proves Roman Catholic dominance in Belgium during the Northern Renaissance. This piece of art is also typical of the Northern Renaissance in its goal to revive art and literature in an effort to improve trade in Europe. The painting contains hidden symbols that represent different parts of the Christian faith. The Rest on the Flight into Egypt is a product of European culture during the Northern Renaissance. The style of the Flemish painting and its display of Roman Catholic belief indicate that it is a clear representation of the culture it came from. The exceptional detail and coloring in the piece of art are also proof of the creativity during this time period because Northern Renaissance artists were especially concerned with the appearance of their paintings. The painting The Rest on the Flight into Egypt evidently reflects European culture during the Northern Renaissance because of its focus on Catholicism, both in subject matter and in symbolism.